Hello and welcome to Programs and Me YouTube channel. In this Python programming video series for beginners, we are discussing conditional statements. And in the previous tutorial, we talked about if statements, if-else conditional statements, and if-elif-else conditional statements. Today, let's talk about nested if statements. A nested if statement in Python refers to an if statement that is placed inside another if statement. This is the syntax. If condition 1 colon. Here this is the body of the first if statement, that is the outer if statement, and inside that statements you can have any statement or statements. Then here another if statement, if condition 2 colon, and this is the body of inner if statement. Inside this if statement we can have another if statements also. If the if statements are present inside another if statement, then that is called as nested if statements. We can use these nested if statements when we want to check multiple conditions. Here this if condition will execute only when this condition is true. Condition 1 is true. If this condition 1 is false, then it won't execute this second if statement. Let's take an example. Here first I'll take a variable called number, num. I'll take 12. I'll use if condition if num modulo 2 is equal to 0. That is, if the number is divisible by 2, then I'll print this message, and then I'll check whether this condition is true. Whether it is also divisible by 3. If this condition is false, it won't check this condition. Let's save this and execute this. Here 12 is divisible by 2. 12 is also divisible by 3. So it will execute all the statements. Take 15. 15 is not divisible by 2. But it is divisible by 3. If I save this and execute this now, we'll get only done message. We won't get this message because here this condition is present inside this condition. If this condition is true, then only we'll check this condition. 15 is divisible by 3, but it is not divisible by 2. That's why it won't execute this condition. That's why we'll get only this message. This is how nested if works. If I take 10, here 10 is divisible by 2 and done message. Because here this condition is true, so it will print this message and it will check this condition. This condition is false, so it won't execute this if body. If outer condition is true, then only it will execute or check the inner condition. If this condition is false, then it won't execute its body. Next, we can use else block with nested if statements. We can use if-else statement inside if condition or else block like this. This is the syntax. Inside this if condition, we can use if-else conditional statements like this. Or you can write it inside the else block also. You can write it inside both if condition and else block. Here, if this condition is true, then only it will execute this block. It will execute statements and it will check next condition. If this condition is true, it will execute statements. It will ignore, Python will ignore this else block. If this condition is false, then it will execute else block. And here also, if this condition is false, then only it will execute else block. If this condition is true, else block will be ignored. Here we have another example. Now save and execute this. 12 is divisible by 2 and also 3. I'll take 15. 15 is not divisible by 2. So this condition become false, so it will execute this else block. It won't check this condition. If I take 10, 10 is divisible by 2, 10 is not divisible by 3. Here this condition become true, so it will execute this statement. It will check this condition. This condition is false, so it will execute else block. Use nested if statements when you need to check a new condition only after an initial condition is already true or false. They are useful for handling complex scenarios where decisions are dependent on multiple criteria evaluated in a sequence. Okay, so this is about nested if statements. Maybe sometimes nested if and elif condition with the if block gives similar result, but they work differently. Okay, so this is about nested if statements. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will meet you in next class. Till then, take care.